Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kaldheim draft. Now, normally I would do a big intro, but today we have a special guest who will be introing. His name is Ben Stark. He is a member of the Rivals League, the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame. He has a fantastic Twitch stream and YouTube channel that you should definitely check out, and he will be joining us today for the draft portion, helping us out in Kaldheim. Welcome to the channel, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
So what have your thoughts been on Kaldheim so far? Do you enjoy the format? Is there something you love about it? Are there any decks that are your favorite to do, or you just what are your thoughts on Kaldheim?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I personally, I like Zendikar Rising a lot more. I don't think it's like a bad format. I describe this as like one of the formats that I'll enjoy for a couple of months and then I won't really think about after. Foretell is a really good mechanic. Like, I would love to see them use that more or similar things. Like, I give that an A+. But the format as a whole, I do have some thoughts on it. Like, it's very archetypey, it's very focused, and it's not that well balanced. What I mean by that is, I think that, Snow is fantastic. It's deep, and it can support a lot of players. Giants is good. It's not that deep, but, it's very good if you're the only Giant player, maybe two in a pod. Red aggro, like white red aggro, is excellent. It's like one of the most aggressive like aggro decks we've seen in limited. Like, you can play 1 and 2 drops. You can either have a bunch of equipment or things that pump your team. Like, it's a really good aggro deck. But black is like, I mean, I'm not gonna not play it if I get Poison the Cup, Black Rare, Feed the Serpent. But like, black's pretty bad in this set. Like, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but in my opinion, like, black is the worst color by a lot in this set. So that's kind of unbalanced. And I also don't think because of that, really, you end up with a format where like blue and green are incredibly deep. Somebody on my stream live actually said they think WotC might have purposely made blue and green super deep because you have to spend a lot of picks on lands for snow decks. And then red is a really good aggro color. White is like a medium aggro color. Black is just honestly kind of pathetic. And so you end up with a result of white red aggro is incredible, black red aggro is okay, and black white aggro is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's been my experience. I opened the black white saga, and so I was like, well, I guess I kind of should be playing black white, but then over the course of the draft, it's just like, oh, it's so painful. All these cards that I'm taking are just not where I want to be. But
that one's white black. So a lot of times you just end up white red, and if you start with that, you're just like, all right, I'll prioritize getting a Shimmer Veil or black white duel when I see one of the picks to make treasures to cast this really good single black card. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. Like, if we see black, I'm going to suggest taking the black cards during this draft. But black has one very good common in Feed the Serpent. Both of the other removal spells are not very good in Way Down and Wither Crown.
Wither Crown is
black,
yikes.
Yeah. What's the best black common creature? Like Death Knell Berserker or something?
Elderfang Disciple, maybe? Someone...
Yeah, it's like a joke. It's like they're trolling us with how bad black is.
Someone played Wither Crown on one of my creatures, and I happened to have Cole in play, and then I realized that, you sacrifice the creature and it goes back to your hand just because of the way Cole is worded. It's like, oh my gosh, they just played, a glorified bounce spell. It's just like, oh my... And then Way Down is hard to use, and... There's just a lot of tension.
Anybody who follows my content knows, I'm all about learning how to use all 5 of the colors and learning how to draft the weaker archetypes. I very rarely will just be like, oh, this color is just bad. I'll be like, this is the weakest color, but you draft it like this with this, you pair it with that, it's good. You prioritize this with that. And that's how red and white are in this format. Blue and green are better than red and white in this format. There's no question. But white and red are good colors. You can make good decks with them. But black is just come on, it's just the worst I've seen a color in a format in a long time.
Yeah, well, let's hope we don't open any black cards. We're going to jump in at the beginning here. It's one of the things that I've found is that if you can find the open lane, sometimes it's just wide open because some of the cards just nobody else wants. So if nobody in your pod is drafting Snow for some reason, you just start wheeling these absurd cards to your deck, like Snow Duels and things like that. And then if nobody's playing white aggro, you're just getting all these late Battlefield Raptors and Codespell Clerics with 2 cards in the pack, and you're like, wow, this card's actually just super good for me. And then
I definitely agree, because it's such an archetype driven format. So if you see that Snow and white aggro are being overdrafted in your pod and you're the only Giants player or the only white aggro player or red aggro player or the only Snow player, or maybe there's 2 Snow players because Snow is incredibly deep, like you said, I think this format is a lot about finding the open of the good archetypes.
Yeah, so in this pack we've started things off. We've opened another thing I've heard about the format from a lot of people is that there's just a lot of absurd rares and mythics, and this card is pretty bonkers from when I've had it played against me. I actually haven't had it before, but I think it's pretty
Oh, I've
great.
had it a couple of times. I totally agree. I mean, ironically, I would say Halvar is like an A. Sword of the Realms is like an S. Sword of the Realms is
Yeah.
way more busted than Halvar.
Yeah, exactly. The only someone played Halvar against me when they already had an equipment on their creature and hit me for like 10. But like yesterday, someone played Sword of the Realms and I was like, well, I just can't. I basically can't win anymore. They just all their creatures are unkillable.
Yeah, there are definitely times you play Halvar because, like you said, you already have an equipped creature out and a couple and whatever, and or you just don't have like any creatures or something, or like you have one creature and if they kill it, you have no more. Okay, like you play Halvar sometimes for sure, but like like I said, I would call Halvar like an A. Like it's first. If Halvar didn't have Sword of the Realms on the back, it would still be first pickable, but
Is
it wouldn't be in any conversations for like top 10 cards in the set or anything. Like it's good. It's a first pick.
mhm.
Sword of the Realms, if you have a normal draw, like 3 or 4 creatures, and Sword of the Realms, you basically can't lose.
Yeah,
Like all your
exactly.
creatures have vigilance and are unkillable and deal a ton of damage. They
That
can't be blocked because of the +2. They can't be attacked back into because of the vigilance, and they
mhm.
can't be killed because they go back to your hand.
Yeah.
That's
That
pretty much all of it.
the last pack was also pretty weak outside of Halvar. I mean, it had a Feed the Serpent, which would have put us down black. There's also there was a black green Snowland or something, and then like Runed Crown, but I don't like starting with that. So the rest of the pack, other than Halvar, was kind of a little bit of a not great. So good thing we opened a good rare. But yeah, Halvar is really unbeatable. We're gonna want to make sure that gets into the deck. In this pack, there's a couple white cards. There's Stalwart Valkyrie. There's Kaya's Onslaught. There's Goldmaw, Code Spell. So good white options. And then after that, in blue, there's nothing. There's like a Snowland. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we definitely want to try and play Halvar. We're not going to force it, but the best cards in this pack are white. The best non-white card in this pack is Glittering Frost. I think this is a pretty clear Kaya's Onslaught. White is almost always aggro. Like, if you were going to be like a non-aggressive white deck, sure, like Stalwart Valkyrie would be better. But like, if we end up like white-red aggro, then like Kaya's Onslaught's going to be better than Valkyrie. Although I do like Valkyrie a lot too. It's a perfectly fine creature.
One thing I've had with Kaya's Onslaught is that I find there's some tension between you have like four. If I have like 3 equipments that I want to play in my deck, then I have less room for combat tricks. So I actually haven't played Kaya's Onslaught yet. So I don't really know exactly how good it is because it's an uncommon.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
I
see it all that
totally
often.
agree with you. On stream, every time I pass a Run-Amok, people start going nuts. And I'm like, listen, like Run-Amok's a good card. The problem is I want to play my Demon Bolts. I want to play my Bounding Golds. I want to play my equipment. Like I want to play my runes. Like there's only so much room for non-creatures in your deck.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
sometimes it's hard to get the tricks in. But Onslaught's pretty busted. Like if a 3-power creature gets through, that's 8 damage.
Yeah,
Like
it's like a lava X attached to your creature and you can win combat. In this pack, I kind of like Struggle for Skemfar. There's also a Narfi if you wanted to kind of abandon what we have, but I mean, we already have some good stuff. Struggles. I think I have a proclivity towards Struggle. What do you like in this pack?
No, I'm completely with you. I mean, Narfi, I would take Narfi over Struggle, pick one, pack one, because it's pretty easy to splash. And look, we're not 100% to play white. Like, if we don't see any more white cards and green is wide open, we'll switch. But, Struggle can be good. We can play white-green creatures. And if we need to move into snow, we'll still have a Struggle, which is worse than a Narfi, but it's a perfectly fine card.
Mm-hmm. And then in this pack, there's another white card, but the only white card is Goldmaw Champion. It's okay. There's Rune of Might, which actually works really well with the Onslaught. And, I mean, it's kind of a dopey pack. There's not a ton for us.
This pack's pretty bad. I mean, I don't really like Goldmaw Champion. Like, obviously, you can play it if you need to, but I think it's, like, kind of filler. I would probably take one of the green cards. I think, like, Rune of Might goes a lot better with what we have, but it's early in the draft, and, like, we may need to end up snow. And, I mean, you can play... We're probably not going to splash Onslaught in snow, but you can splash, like, Halvar. The sword is single white.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Glittering Frost should certainly be in consideration, too. I think it's a pretty close pick. If we end up green-white creatures, Rune of Might is going to be a lot better than Glittering Frost, but if we end up snow, Glittering Frost is going to be a lot better than Rune of Might. I think I would take the Rune of Might because there's a decent chance we'll get more Glittering Frost later, and it's a card with pretty heavy diminishing returns. But I definitely want to have our eye out on drafting like snow and just, if green is the open color and white isn't.
Yeah, I do kind of like the idea of putting a Rune of Might onto a Sword of the Realms as well. Just overkill probably at that point, but it is kind of appealing to when you have equipments.
Yeah, also just Halvar, like you said, has really
double strike.
Rune of Might because double strike trample is just like
it's like what? In this pack, there's another Rune. There's also Bounding Gold, so a couple good white cards. Is a little bit of a nice pick me up after a couple of non-white card packs. And
Yeah, and
then
this is a
yeah.
good sign for us because, like, again, we thought we might have to audible in the snow after a couple of weak packs for white, but now we get a bound and gold fifth. I think this is a really easy bound and gold. Like, I like Rune of Sustenance. I think all the runes are good with equipment. But if you're going to be hyper aggro, then Lifelink isn't quite as valuable. Like, it's still a good card. You're still never cutting it from a white based creature deck with equipment. But we already have a rune if we go white green. If we do go white red or something, like, Rune of Sustenance is good, but I think bound and gold is just better.
Yeah, it's nice to have access to the removal. We have a couple removal spells, but white green sometimes struggles in the removal department, especially if it doesn't have like a big creature to use struggle with. This pack's interesting because it's got the Valkyrie sword, which is kind of hard for aggro to use, but we have like a rune to put on it and stuff. There's also Grizzled Outrider, and then just random black cards, a couple blue cards, snow plains. Yeah, I don't know what do you like to take in here?
No, I mean, it's a bad pack, like you said, for us. I mean, I don't love the sword. If we end up white green, maybe it'll be a little better. If we do still end up green snow splashing white, we'll want that snow plains. I mean, I don't know. I like you said, I don't think any of these cards are that important to us. I'd probably still just take the sword because if you're green white, like you're more inclined to play that than if you're like a 15, 16 land hyper aggro white red. But yeah, I agree with you. The sword is kind of too slow for aggro. The only time I found the sword to be good is when I have a lot of the Starheim coursers, so I can play it for 5 or 6. Because even for 6, every time you lessen the mana cost by 1 on such an expensive card, that's worth a lot. And then also, like, if you're just like a white blue deck with like the holes and stuff, where you're gonna make your land drops for longer much better, then I like the sword. But in white red hyper aggro, I don't think the sword is playable.
Yeah, I haven't actually played with it before, which is kind of funny. In this pack, there's a Battlefield Rapid. There's also a Bredegaard Stronghold. There's another rune, but we're probably not splashing those sorts of things. I think Stronghold's pretty nice, though.
Oh, Windmill Slam the Stronghold. I mean, we're not committed to green, but if you do go green-white, that card's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed with it.
Back, like, yeah, you just gain infinite life, 2+1/+1 counters from your land. Like, that card is just incredible if you're green.
Yeah, it's really good. It also just can sometimes just swing a race completely in your favor, where it looked like you were going to be dead, and then you have this sort of effect to just kind of win you the game almost out of a land, which is really good.
To be honest, I value all the lands really highly because this is a all the sack land, the whole cycle, because this is a high power format. So like you need to have a lot of cheap cards because you have to impact the board every turn. But then if you have a lot of cheap cards, then you lose a lot of games to flood. So I think the whole cycle of uncommon lands that sack for effects are just all early picks. Like they're all really strong. Like you don't want to take them pick 1, pick 2 because they're gold cards effectively. But once you're in those colors, like I prioritize those really highly.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's funny though because you can also get them really late, even though they're great for your deck. So you'll get them like 7th pick because nobody is specifically white green or something like we just did.
Right, it's because they're gold cards.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you see the same thing like with the gold cards, like in Zendikar, those the powerful like gold uncommons, and like sometimes you would get like a Rogue Lord 5th or something, and it would be like, wow, like that seems so lucky, but. The people passing you could have been clerics, could have been wizards, but if they're not exactly blue-black rogues, they can't use the rogue lord.
Yeah, also with the fact that it's like double to activate, so they can't even really splash them, makes it even like harder to like splash to the type of effect. So it's not like they're going to be splashing the lands a lot. Do you like Raven's Wings better than Code Spell Cleric here, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you look at our creatures, like white green especially, Wings is going to perform better even in white green because green has like decent sized bodies and 0 flyers. Also, we have a rune already. So, I mean, like, we really want to pick up a nice equipment or 2. Wings is the kind of equipment that, like, I don't generally want multiple copies of it in my deck, but the first one's pretty good.
Yeah. And, the rest of the pack just kind of rounding out. I guess we could take this in case we open a black rare.
And we should.
We only have 2 green cards.
This is best of 1, not best of 3, right?
Yeah, best of 1.
Yeah, because if it was best of 3, Invokes a good sideboard card, so then it would be close. Like you said, our green is fine. We're not super committed to green. If we open Runescarred Demon or something, we would switch to black-white.
Yeah, exactly. Immistorm Skull Karen is pretty funny because I always forget that it does 3 damage. I'm just like, oh, they have a Skull Karen in play. And then I'll just be at 3 life and they'll hit me with the GG. I'll be like, wait, I'm not dead. And then.
Yeah, Skull Karen's really good. But I mean, obviously it's red, white. So like, I mean, red, black. So like, we can't play that. Whereas we could, like, I like to like towards the middle to end of pack 1, just kind of like quickly think about what I've seen in my deck. And like, the meta analysis here of this draft would be pretty simple. Like we're 100% to play white. And then like, we're open to white anything. Obviously we're leaning green, but our green cards are not very good. Like we're just 100% white and we can play whatever with our white.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've opened up a good pack a good pack, but maybe not for us. There's not a single white card. I guess there's 1 white card in the pack. I was like, wow, is it even possible to open a pack without a white card? But we don't want to first pick Axe Guard Braggart. There's an Elven Bow. There is a Masked Vandal. Gold Vein pick. I mean, this is just a bizarre
It's a
pack.
weak pack. Yeah, it's a weak pack, but I think Gold Vein Pick is excellent for these little white aggro equipment decks. I think Deathsea actually broke that. Like he started drafting them really aggressively early and winning a lot with aggro. Um, so I mean, look, it's not like some busted card or something, but I think it's like a very like good card. I don't mind. Like we're not hoping to first pick it, but I don't mind to take it early. I want to talk about the bow briefly. I don't think the bow is going to be very good for us because we're an aggro deck, but green is a really controlling color in this format, like in snow and stuff like that. I think Elven Bow is fantastic. Most of the times you lose with your like green blue snow decks and green black snow decks and stuff is to flyers, to like, aggression, and then they finish you off in the air with flyers. So, and that's a deck that doesn't traditionally want equipment like at all and doesn't value equipment very highly. And even pick is like borderline playable, unplayable in that deck. So I just think like a lot of people are missing out on bows for their green snow decks. And I think bow is like an early pick for a green snow deck. Because remember, if you play one reach creature and they kill it, now you're vulnerable in the air again. There's plenty of removal. If you play the bow, like you have a reach creature forever. If they kill it, they only get to hit you that one turn, and then you can just put it on something else. So I value the bow really highly for green snow decks.
Yeah.
But not for a green white aggro.
My second draft of the format, I had 3 of the bow or something in the deck, and it's just like you can also just in the late game you can just start suiting stuff up because +1/+2 is not like irrelevant stats for your creatures.
Right.
It helps you trade up.
You want if you're a late game defensive deck because it shores you up in the air. It has value in the late game. It gives you a great blocker. It's just basically everything you want for a green late game oriented deck. And green is normally late game oriented. We're the exception, not the norm this draft.
I'm just jamming War Master here because that card's absurd.
I agree. I mean, we don't have elves yet, but like with all this equipment and stuff, our deck loves an Elvish Mentor if we can see them. And that pack didn't have anything better than
that
War
pack
Master.
It wasn't a huge discussion pick. I just was illuminating it for the people who are watching at home. That's Elvish War Master is just really good. Even if you don't need a lot of elves for this card to be good, you just need like 1 or 2 changelings or elves, and then it's just like late game threat. And it also includes itself, so you can just pump itself in a pinch. This pack, there's a Story Seeker, there's another Gold Vein pick, and there's a Snow Forest, but we're not really a snow deck. I think I'm leaning towards Story Seeker because we have some equipments, but which one do you prefer?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's definitely between those two. And I think more often than not for a deck like ours, I would take pick over Story Seeker, but here I would take Story Seeker because exactly what you said. We have 2 or 3 equipment and, we need the 2 drops. I think pick is generally better than Story Seeker in a white, like aggro deck. But, we already have 2 or 3 equipment and we don't have a lot of 2s. So I'm with taking the Story Seeker over the pick this time.
Nice. It feels, and also we're still like, we still don't have to be green, I guess, if we opened up something absurd in pack 3. There's a Wings of the Cosmos. This is the type of card that gets much worse when you have a couple of like equipments because you don't want to have like a hand of a Gold Vein pick, a Raven's Wings, and a Wings, and then 1 creature. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Sculptor here over Wings.
Yeah, definitely Sculptor here. I mean, Snow Plains and Forests are still easy to put in the deck. I know we don't have them. We don't want to take them that aggressive. But since white isn't a snow color, you can pick up Snow Plains like, 12th pick or whatever some of the time. And then also it's an elf. We have the War Master.
Oh, right.
And I mean, look, even if you're not a ramp deck, even if you're an aggro deck, it's a 2/2 that adds a mana once on turn 3 or whatever is still awesome. Obviously we don't want to, and that card doesn't have snow in the casting cost. So it's not like if we only have 1 or 2 snow lands, we're like, oh, we can't cast our Grizzly Bear on turn 2. No, we'll cast it turn 2 every time. It costs a green. Now, maybe only half the games it'll add a mana, but it's still a 2 mana 2/2 100% of the time, So I think, Sculptor's not amazing for us like it is a snow ramp deck, but I think it's like a fine 2-drop to play in our deck.
Yeah. This one's pretty easy. There's not like a single card in our colors. I think we're pretty committed to white-green at this point with a couple of our green cards, but if we open something absurd, maybe we could switch. But in the rest of the pack, I feel like this is just like the next best card is probably Bergstrider. Maybe not for our deck, but Run Amok would probably be the type of card that's good in aggro. Bergstrider for more snow decks.
Oh, yeah, I agree with all that. Bergstrider is the best card in the pack overall, but I mean, we don't have a single blue card, and we're pretty committed to green-white.
Okay, doke. Now there's another Predagard Stronghold. Someone's getting a pick 7 Avalanche color because we're not taking that, but yikes. There's Predagard. There's also another Changeling with the Elvish, but probably just jamming the land. We have enough players.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't remotely close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you take Story Seeker over pick when you're a little low on 2-drops, so you don't have to take a filler 2-drop over a busted on common land for your deck.
Yeah, just giving stuff lifelink is so good.
I mean, that card is just absurd. I mean, frankly, just all around. Like, it's so cheap to sack. You're an aggro deck. You can play like 16, 17 lands, and then, you only have to have 3 lands in it to sack it. It's just great.
Okie doke. Now, we already have a Raven's Wings, so we're just jamming the Axe Guard Braggart.
I'm with it.
What are your thoughts on Raven form? This is card that has been discussed a lot.
Unless the 1/1 flyer is going to be near irrelevant, I think the card is just bad and I wouldn't play it.
I agree.
Now, sometimes the 1/1 flyer is near irrelevant. Like, for example, if you're blue-white and you have like 6 flyers and none of them have 1 toughness, then what is a 1/1 flyer doing besides chump blocking to gain 2 life if you have, a deck full of 2/2 and 3/2 flyers, right? Or sometimes you have sweepers and then the 1/1 flyer just goes away for free. Somebody did a what's the cuts and showed me their draft deck yesterday, and they had the giant that bounces all tokens, and they had like another sweeper, a wrath. So then I was like, yeah, play your Raven forms. You're just going to sweep them away for free. Here I'm going to disagree probably for the first time this draft. Divine Gambit I think is a misunderstood card. Mass Vandal's good, but Divine Gambit I think is excellent removal. Have you played with this card much?
I haven't actually cast it yet, and it's only been cast against me once, and it kind of wrecked me.
So the way people misplay this card is they think to themselves like it's a gamble, or when their opponent puts a card in play off it, like it didn't do anything. But like, let's say it's your opponent has 2 cards left in hands turn 7 and you kill a Lindworm and they put a Lindworm in play and just the exact same one. You didn't do nothing. You would have had to beat that Lindworm when they cast it the next turn anyway. All you did was like accelerate the Lindworm. You gave it haste, basically. You played 2 mana, destroy a Lindworm, give their next Lindworm haste. That's when they have a second one to play. So the key with Divine Gambit is you cannot play this card on the early turns. On turn 3, if you kill their, let's say they play a rare 3-drop that's powerful that you're going to want a Divine Gambit, you still have to wait till turn 6 to Divine Gambit it, because you can't have them put a 6-drop in play on turn 3, right?
Yeah.
And then you just lose. But if on turn 6 you kill a 6-drop, even if they put another 6-drop in play and that's the last one in their hand, all you really did was give it haste. You didn't create it. You still killed the other 6/6. Like before, you would have had to beat both 6/6s. Now you killed one, and there's one you have to work through. So like Divine Gambit is good on conditional removal. It's a little, I take Bound and Gold over it because sometimes you want to kill a creature on turn 3 or 4 and be able to attack, and you cannot play Divine Gambit before like turn 6. But on turn 6 plus, Divine Gambit is just good on conditional removal. So that's still an early pick. Still probably better than any white common except Bound and Gold.
Yeah, I was thinking with that pick specifically, I was thinking Masked Vandal is just a good interactive card. It works with Elvish Warmaster. We got one anyway, which is nice.
Masked Vandal's good. Masked Vandal's excellent. Like I'm hoping we can pick some up. But I mean, Masked Vandal's a little better in Snow. Like we are an aggro deck. We don't level 1/3. I mean, listen, we're going to play every copy of Masked Vandal, but it just has a little bit less value for us as a 1/3 than it would if we were more interested in blocking in long games.
I'm excited to see how the Divine Gambit plays out because it is a sweet card for sure. I mean, when I first saw it, I remember thinking,
just make sure you don't get tempted. Like, I'll see people, like I said, someone will play like an Immerstrom Predator on turn 4, and they're like, well, I have to Divine Gambit that. Yes, you do on turn 6.
Yeah.
Take your hit for 3, take your hit for 4, and then kill it a turn or 2 later. When if they put a 5 or 6 drop in play, it's not that big of a deal. You cannot play that card before like turn 5 or 6, and you want to wait as long as you can on the card.
So in this pack, there's a pretty easy Bound and Gold, I think, but we do have 3 Goldvein picks that we managed to just get like super late while we were talking about Divine Gambit. So we could just take runes a little bit higher, but it might even come back because people don't love the runes. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. Like we would gladly play a second and third rune in this deck, but we're going to take Bound and Gold over it. If we table it, that'll be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, with Divine Gambit, the only times... there's a Rune Guide champion. I like Starnheim Courser here, I think. Maybe this card's better.
I think Runeforge Champion's better. I mean, we have a rune to search for, right? And maybe we'll table that other one. We very well might. Like, the green rune is in very low demand because snow decks don't really want the green rune.
True.
And, Runeforge Champion, I mean, you search up the rune. So, like, as long as you didn't draw it, you're getting your value. And the fact that we have 3 picks actually makes us want the Runeforge Champion more because, like, the rune is going to be awesome for us every game because we're going to have a pick to put it on every game.
Would you play 3 Goldvein picks?
Yeah, probably. I'd probably just cut the Raven Wings. I mean, I think Goldvein Pick is just like a better card than Raven Wings. Not by a lot, but I think it's just better. Also, like, that can give us mana, and we have the ability to use our mana pretty well with this deck. Like, now we can play, like, the Sword. We can pump the War Master. Like, we can move around the Halvar equipment, sack the Strongholds. Like, I think we can use the mana the pick gives us pretty well with this deck.
Do you get ambitious with splashing when you have pick? Like, do you just start putting, like, random single-costed red cards like Demon Bolts into your deck when you have 3 Goldvein picks?
You can. I probably wouldn't take them if there was something even a little worse but on color. But let's say there's a pack with a Demon Bolt and no white or green cards. Yeah, I'd probably take it and splash it. But if that pack has, like, a struggle, then I'm just going to take the struggle rather than splash it.
So in this pack, do you like Masked Vandal number 2, Codespell Cleric? There's a random land that would work with our Sculptor. There's a Squash. What do you want to take
Yeah,
here?
Mass Vandal number 2 here. I think, like you said, it is an elf. I mean, Mass Vandal's a good card. Like,
Yeah.
I think it might just be like in the aggregate, I think it might be the third best green common after, of course, Packmate, the best common in the set, and Struggle. Well, there's the card we're going to splash off the 3 picks, right?
There we go. It was discussed earlier. It literally came up.
We also have that black sack land, and it's white, black to sack. So if we have one black source out, like one treasure, we can sack the Great Hall Starnheim using 2 white and a treasure. So I think we'll splash for sure Fears' Retribution and the Great Hall of Starheim. We can easily play 17 lands because we have 3 sack lands, and then we have 3 picks. So I think that our color sources will work out really well for this very light black splash.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even put a swamp in our deck right now. We have the Great Hall, which is a black source for the Retribution. If we can't sack the Great Hall, that's all right. It's still tapping in mana. And then we have 3 picks to give us treasures to sack the Great Hall or cast the Retribution. I love this super light black splash in our deck for a really powerful land and a really powerful rare.
Also, our curve tops out at 4, so it's like we get to play 17 lands in our cheap deck and then also be able to cast whatever we want, which is kind of cast stuff easily. I think I like Battlefield Raptor here because it works so well with the picks. It just gets in early, gets the treasure.
100% agree.
Verdict is not.
I'm
really
not as fine of Battlefield Raptor as some. Like, if you're not going to enhance it, you're still only hitting for 1 a turn.
I agree.
If you got 3 picks, it's just a great card.
Yeah, it's like it hits them for 2 and generates you a mana and is like great on blocks. So all of that stuff works out.
Yeah, if you can consistently enhance it, like if you have a lot of cheap equipment, I'm all about a Battlefield Raptor, especially with pick, like you said, because it makes mana. But I do see people just jam that in every aggro deck, and I'm just like, you realize this card only does 1 a turn, right? Like you went down a card to deal 1 a turn.
Yeah, this rune is super good for our deck with all of our equipments, and I don't know,
totally.
Just feels great.
Totally.
Great to pick up.
If we draw the other rune, now we have another one to search out with the Doom Score. And like you said, we have a ton of equipment. If we get that on the Halvar, the Sword of the Realm, forget about it.
Yeah, just overkill. Any situation that involves Halvar is just like complete overkill. There's an Axe Guard Armory ambition.
So that one we can't splash really as well because even though it taps out a white, it's red. So we'd have to have double red.
We have to get all the treasures. Where are you at on Jasper Sentinel? Do you ever play this card?
I wouldn't have took it, but with this much equipment plus a black splash, I think I'm on the Jasper Sentinel here.
Yeah.
Even though we're not quote unquote a ramp deck, we have this black splash. It's a free black source. We can suit it up with the equipment quickly and hit with it as well. I mean, it's an elf, so we can pump it in the late game with the War Master and get the free one. Oh my, this is just ridiculous.
The runes.
I think Jasper Sentinel is actually just a good card for a deck because it hits so many different synergies.
Yeah,
we want the mana to get out that expensive sword, which I think is going to be good in our deck. We want the elf for the War Master. We want the free black source, and it's just a body, and we have a lot of equipment. So I actually like the Sentinel. Obviously, the Rune Crown is just a gift. Like,
this next pack, we could wheel the. We didn't wheel the other one. Feels bad, but we get this thing or this thing.
Yeah. Like having the conversation, I think about the Jasper Sentinel here for the people at home. I think they'll learn something. I don't think anybody's learning anything when we talk about how great Rune Crown is.
When you have 2 runes and exactly. Exactly.
Rune Crown is a gift.
Which one do you want to take here of these 2?
Definitely the Glade Walker.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have 2 1-drops. I'd play another Raptor, but it's an elf, like we talked about. It's just a better card.
Yeah, and getting counters, you can put the counter onto a Raptor and then have something to wear in equipment. It's just. Yeah. Doke.
Don't get me wrong. If that wasn't in the pack, we would have took the Raptor and played it, for sure. But I think it's just a better card.
Would you play the second Great Hall of Starnheim?
Probably, assuming we can make the mana work. I don't mind having another tap land. Like you said, our curve's really low, and we're going to play 17 lands for sure. We just have to make sure we have enough green and white sources. So, we'll do the mana. I know we're just doing the draft. I'm not staying for the games, but we'll definitely, build the deck and discuss the mana and finish everything up. So, I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with having another Great Hall in your deck. I mean, you can use one to sack the other. It's another black source, and it's just a very powerful land. Sack some little ground creature in the mid to late game to make a 4/4 flyer is awesome. But we have to make sure we have enough green and white sources. That's top priority. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so there's nothing in the sideboard that we're really interested in. We're not going to play this Gold Maw. Have you ever played the Giant Ox deck?
Haven't. I mean, I don't think it's fake. If you have flyers and you don't mind a 2-mana 0/6, then if you get 3 Oxes, you can definitely play the Plow. Here's the thing on that. This will be good also to cover. If Ox is a bad card in your deck, if you're a red-white aggro deck, you can't put the Ox in your deck ever. If you're a blue-white or white-black where you're going to have a decent late game, you're going to win with flyers, and you don't mind having a 2-mana 0/6, then if you have the Plows to play the Ox, I would play the Ox. But you need a good ratio of Ox to Plow, because the Plow is a six crew 6 is a dead card if you don't have the Ox, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, the Ox is not a dead card if you don't have the Plow, is assuming you have like card drawing and flyers. So like, if you have one Ox, one Plow, that's unplayable, because if you draw the times you draw the Plow, if you only have one Ox, you see, like, let's call it like a third of your deck by like turn 6 or 7, 13 cards of 40. So that means of the times you draw the Plow, 2/3 of the times you won't have an Ox, and the Plow will be a dead card. Now, of the times you draw the Ox, 2/3 of the times you won't have the Plow, and the Ox won't be great, but it's a 2/9/6 blocker. So if you're winning with flying and card drawing, the Ox is fine on its own. So what that means is you need a good ratio of Oxes to Plow. Like, if I have like 3 Oxes, then I'll put the Plow in my deck. If I have 1 Ox, 1 Plow, I'm not playing either.
Does Raiders Carve kind of fill the Plow role for you at all? The like high crew cost?
I mean, it helps. I mean, listen, I wouldn't play 3 Oxes just because I have 1 Raiders Carve. But if I have 3 Oxes and a Plow, I'll play the Raiders Carve too, when it might not have made the deck otherwise or something.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how strong the Ox is?
Well,
I once lost control and he carved a furrow right through my house, and he didn't even slow down. So that's, I guess, why the best gear shield mate is no longer a farmer. So with this deck, immediate cuts, I think of Wings of the Cosmos, because we have so many equipments.
Yeah, that just slipped in on accident, right?
Yeah,
that's not
that thing just like got slid into the deck. And then everything else so far, I mean, looks like relatively reasonable. I mean, Doomscar Oracle is not my favorite card.
As long as our creature count is high enough, the Doomscar is a pretty easy cut, but we have to check the creature count because we have a lot of non-creatures.
Yeah, and then Axeguard Braggart could get the cut. It's kind of expensive to use.
Same thing. It's totally cuttable, but I'm worried that our creature count's going to be too low. We're going to have to check that.
So the creature count right now is at 11, but Furia's Retribution is a creature, and the equipment is as a creature as well. It's just an expensive one.
Yeah, I don't know how much I love counting that equipment as one. I do count living weapons as a creature if they cost 4 or whatever, but like, 7's a lot. So if that's in our hand with like struggles and stuff, then our struggles are doing nothing. I agree with you that Fierce's Retribution, I think of cards, like 3 mana make a 3/3 token is the same thing as a 3/3 for 3, right? Like, I mean, some pluses, some minuses, but I would always view that as a creature. So I agree with the logic on Retribution. My only question here is with Sword, because it's 7. So if we draw like an equipment, a struggle, and a sword, we actually have no creatures the whole game.
Yeah.
We can't play it before.
Yeah, for sure. We just have a lot of stuff that's in that like discretionary slot of
put those creatures back in. I mean, to be honest,
yeah,
like,
we have to put
we can't play 11 in Retribution and this much equipment. I'm not saying we won't end up cutting one of them, but I think we're going to need to put in all those playable creatures. Yeah, the ones you just put in.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't think any of the other cards in the sideboard are really necessary. We're not going to play Broken Wings here.
For sure.
I've played Broken Wings. I've played it before in the main deck, and it does decent work, but you don't have room for those sorts of things.
That would be more for like snow control or something if you didn't get a lot of removal. Like, but in our deck, we're more interested in our runes, our equipment, our fight spells. Like, there's no way Broken Wings can make the main here.
Yeah, the War Master ended up pretty decent because we now have like 4 other elves, which, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other elves actually, which is kind of neat.
Nice.
We could, like, Kaya's Onslaught is one of those discretionary slot cards. We could cut a Goldvein pick maybe. I'm not a master of Goldvein pick. I think I've played like a couple Goldvein picks. I've never really had more than one in a deck, so I'm not an expert on how many of them to play.
I mean, you can definitely play 3. It's just like we have to keep our creature count up, and we have fight spells, bound and golds, great equipment. Like, Goldvein pick is excellent in the stack, but obviously it's not as good as Rune Crown. So, like, I don't know. I'd probably cut the sword.
Okay, yeah,
I know
that makes sense.
I know with the Goldvein picks we could ramp that out. I actually kind of like the Sentinel in the picks more because of that. But like, I mean, it is not really a creature because it's a 7-drop, and like we need creatures in play. I talk about this concept a lot. Like, people always say to me, like, how are you going to win, or is your creature count too low? And I'm like, well, it depends. If your deck is all card drawing and removal and cards that don't rely on you having creatures in play, then there's no creature count that's realistically too low. Like, yeah, you need some to win, but it's fine if you have 8 creatures total if you don't have equipment and don't have fight spells. But if, on the other hand, if you look at our deck, look how many of the cards we have that rely on us having creatures in play to be useful.
Yeah, I'm just putting all of the equipments and runes into one category, all the removal spells. These ones even need us to have creatures in play.
Exactly.
Kaya's Onslaught is not really useful without a creature in play.
Right. Struggle's not. So like this deck, like we have like 8 cards that don't work if we don't have creatures and the right creatures in play. So like, with this deck, we need to keep the creature count up. If your deck is just all hard removal and counters and card drawing, play 8 creatures, play not 10 creatures, whatever, doesn't matter. But if your deck is fight spells and equipment and runes and stuff, you got to have a reasonable creature count. It doesn't need to be through the roof, but we need to make sure we have at least like 13 creatures.
Yeah, we have 14 right now. And also we kind of want to play this as the Sword of the Realms a lot of the time. Which is also going to make it less of a creature.
Because of our creature count and how much other good equipment we have, we'll probably end up playing Halvar as Halvar more than I would out of like a white-red deck that has like a much higher creature count, let's say.
Yeah.
But, it's fine. And like you said, that's an incentive to play a filler creature over a filler non-creature or something so that we're more likely able to play the sword because the sword is busted and the Halvar is good but easier to deal with and not nearly as busted as the sword.
Yeah. My initial thoughts are cutting Jasper Sentinel because we don't have the creatures to like tap it for mana a lot of the time as a thought. Because
it's doable, but I still love the free black source. I think the worst creature would probably be the Sculptor. We ended up with enough 2-drops, and we ended up with 0 snowlands. So it's never adding mana.
Yeah.
Even if we just had 1 snow plains or 1 snow forest, right? Then it's still a third of the time it's a mana ramper. But for us, that card's 2 mana 2/2 like elf, but no ability. So I think that's the worst card in our deck. I'm not saying the Sentinel won't get cut, but I think we have to cut some non-creatures here.
I would cut Kaya's Onslaught.
I think I love Kaya's Onslaught. I think it's first pickable, but we're not red-white. We're not as aggro. We have a more power-oriented mid to late game. We can win with equipment. We don't have run amucks. I mean, although we do have the green rune and we can search for it. So, but I mean, I guess the Kaya's Onslaught just has to get cut. What else can you cut?
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you probably have to cut 1 pick. I'm not happy about it, but I think we just have to do it.
Yeah, we have. Especially because we got the runed crown, so we have 3 equipment still. With a couple
and
of
the
runes.
Sword is 4, right? The back half of Halvar.
Right, 4, yeah.
So and then
we could go down to 16 lands. That's another consideration. Our deck is quite cheap, mana wise. We have a couple of these to draw cards. This could be a mana source.
Yeah, and the picks add mana. The Sentinel adds mana. Yeah, you're right. We're probably supposed to go to 16. I mean, I would normally play 16 with a curve like this. It's just because we have so many sack lands. I was thinking 17, but you probably just cut one of the Great Halls and go to 16.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And then we would probably not play any swamps.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just adding these for filler while I look at the... Oh, wait. So this is 7, 14, 15, 16, 17. So then we are slightly higher on white, and then you just have to double check.
Well, you have 2 green sacklands and no white ones. So now we're on 9-7. So at the very least, you would cut 1 forest, and then you can figure out whether it should be 8 white, 7 green, or 8 green, 7 white.
Yeah, I think this might be a situation where having more green early is still better. Because a lot of our 2-drops are green, and our white cards are like Halvar, Divine Gambit. These are cards you don't need to cast till later.
Yeah, I think you cut 1 forest here pretty... you did already. Okay, and that gives us 8 green, 7 white. And then I think that's probably right, because the Jaspera Sentinel can be a white source.
Yeah.
And yeah, more of our green drops are early. We have considerably more white cards, and we do have some double white cards, but Halvar and Retribution. So it's pretty close.
Would you ever cut Struggle for Skemfar in this sort of deck where our biggest creature is like a 3/3 that we play on turn 4 or a 2/3? We have kind of small creatures.
Yeah, but we could also grow them with the equipment before the fight.
Yeah.
Vandal fights pretty well with the plus. I mean, you're right that if you were all 1/1 tokens, it would be unplayable. But a 1/3 or a 2/3 fights as a 2/4 or a 3/4 with the +1/+1.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you put a pick on it, it's fighting even better. So I mean, I agree with you. Struggle's not the world's best, but I think we'll kill things profitably with Struggle in this deck.
Yeah. So I think there's nothing really in the sideboard that really wants to be added. I think this is a pretty cool build. Gonna use Goldwing Pick to splash Furias and this land activation, so pretty cool stuff there. Thanks so much for coming on as a guest. People can find more of your stuff on YouTube, your Twitch, anything else you want to say, and I'll put links to all that stuff in the description pinned comment. They can also cheer you on in the Rivals League. There's going to be a Rivals League weekend this weekend, so people can watch you play at the highest level of Constructed, and then they can check out your stream and your YouTube for more draft content. And anything you want to say to the people before you head out?
Well, thanks for having me. I mean, I really appreciate it. Honestly, you covered my stuff pretty well there, but I just want to give you a shout out. I know it's your stream or your video to your viewers, so they watch all the time. But what you've done with limited content on YouTube for the past couple of years has been awesome. Seeing how many great high quality draft videos you make all the time, I think is really helping, grow the limited community and providing lots and lots of high quality content. So, yeah, check me out, BenS_MTG everywhere. I stream on Twitch Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and we post all this Twitch streams on YouTube and occasional new videos on YouTube. But if there's anything I would want to add before I go, it's thank you for, all the great limited content you make. I think that it's fantastic and you're doing wonderful work. And I appreciate you having me on. And, I like doing these with you. They're pretty fun. So, hit me up again next set.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll see you folks in the matches. Before I get to the matches, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the patrons who support me and my content over at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. Special thanks to those at the credits level, and to all of the new patrons who helped me reach the microphone funding goal. It is thanks to the support of patrons that I am able to steadily improve the quality of my videos and produce as much content as I do. Even just $1 a month goes a long way, and there are a host of cool rewards that you gain access to by becoming a patron. If my content has provided you with some value, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. It really makes a big difference. Without further ado though, let's get to the matches. Welcome to round numero uno. We can now add back the game sound so we aren't doing anything too wild. Looks like you can hear me. You can hear the game sound. Perfect. Okay. On the play, we're going to keep this hand. We have a rune. We have our gold vein pick. Ben Stark was... the draft portion is the more interesting part, and the gameplay is more... Too many cooks spoil the broth a lot of the time. So we're just going to be hanging out. It's just Nicolai back here. But yeah, we are chilling. We've got a good hand here. We've got 2-drop into turn 3 gold vein pick equip maybe, into turn 4 Rune of Forge Champion, Rune of Might. Opponent making a tough mulligan decision, it looks like. And maybe even considering another one. I think we definitely run out the Masked Vandal on turn 2, potentially. We'll lead with Forest. Don't think it really matters. Recently, I've been changing my lands away from these artworks, but they're so good that I didn't really bother doing it this time. They're still nice to look at. Oh my gosh, the turn 1 Codespell Cleric. Okay. A white deck generally Masked Vandal's a little bit better against, but we have a second one somewhere in the deck, and just getting this guy out here is going to be nice, I think. We could alternately play Gold Vein pick, and then turn 3 play Rune Forge Champion, and then go like Rune, equip it to the Rune Forge Champion on turn 4. And then Masked Vandal gets to stick around for a little bit. I actually kind of like that better. Because if they play something, it could make a difference. And we're going to want to play this at some point in the future anyway. So white-green. Okay, Spectral Steel. Well, I'm glad that we have Bounding Gold, because that just decimates them. Okay, so we're going to play Rune Forge Champion now. Get up our lifelink rune. Search your library. Bingo. There he goes. Put down rune. Or a gold vein pick or something. We'll have to see what they do here. They're obviously going to attack. Oh, the Runed Crown. That's another thing that you can bound in gold. Masked Vandal, pretty glad we saved it now, because that's a pretty nice thing to be able to exile. Okay. So Battle of the Equipments. So we're going to Rune of Might for the alternate cost. Onto the pick. Then we're going to do this for the alternate cost. Onto the pick, I think. Or we could just equip, hit them. No, we can't then cast Bounding Gold, so we might as well just do this. Divine Gambit. First time in action here. Can exile anything, right? Yep, we can exile the Runed Crown at some point. Definitely nice. Here we're just going to equip this Rune Forge Champion. Send in for 4. Don't want to have to block when they could have a trick, and then we'll just play Bredegard Stronghold. Okay, we're doing great here. We can Bound and Gold their Code Spell Cleric after they've spent the mana to equip and everything. We do want to make sure we save this treasure a little bit so that we can cast our Furious Retribution if we draw it. Okay, they're foretelling a card. So we are going to define. We're going to Bound and Gold this guy, because that gets rid of the Spectral Steel as well, which is important, I think. And then we'll play our land, attack them, and then I think we just play the Braggart. I know I said we wanted to conserve our stuff. I think this is just the best play we have available. This thing's like a 3/3 Vigilance, so we use our removal on that. The +1/+1 in lifelink is just bonus. Doomscar Oracle, sure. Okay, I probably would have played that the opposite order so they could get a counter on it, but they're naming Warrior anyway, okay. We can also Mask Vandal that guy, which is nice. This thing only costs 1 green, 2 white, so we could do that for both of our guys. Get a nice hit. This can be a 4/4. I kind of just want to put it onto this thing so this guy doesn't die, and we can just keep growing it. They aren't going to have discard in their deck. See how they want to block. Well, that's really good. We're going to just do the most damage we can. We get another treasure. Play Gold Maw Champion. And pass. I don't want to use the treasure just to re-equip, because if I do draw Furious, I want to be able to cast it, for sure. Wow, putting 2 runes on a Gold Vein pick. Who would have thunk it? Aww, Criminy. Well, that's a little bit of a bummer. I'm not going to lie. It's not as fun as I would have hoped. Not as much fun. If they do equip Bloodline Pretender, I can double block it, and then I can Mask Vandal to take out the Runed Crown. And I still have Axeguard Braggart. Pretty easy double block here. Wow, what a draw. I was just thinking Runed Crown is pretty useless because both our runes are gone, but I spoke too soon. I think I still do want to use this. Get the Trample rune. I'm already at 24, and giving this an extra +1/+1 is really nice. So now this is a 6/6. Do they actually have another Mask Vandal? That would be kind of unfortunate. I can start using these strongholds too to good effect. And this Divine Gambit is just getting better and better. Cast something big, opponent. I dare you. First time casting this, it just felt so good to have in my hand. I just know they're going to play something big, and then I'm just going to take it out. Even though they probably have some more stuff that's big in their hand, so... maybe it's probably feels worse than having a Bound in Gold would feel. Okay. They say, oops, maybe they wanted to hold up white mana. But I feel like Auto Tapper wouldn't have let that happen. How much mana do I have? So I can use this cost 4, essentially. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll only have 1 white mana left to activate this thing. So I don't really want to attack with this as well. I could attack this and tap that guy. I could attack with everything, tap that guy. I think that's probably the best. Then they have to chump. If I do that, tap that guy, buff both of these guys. They'll chump here. They'll take 5. Yeah, I think that's lethal. It was pretty precise, too. That was the, exact damage. I mean, I don't think it was particularly close because we had a backup one. We had our removal spell, but got a nice win in round 1 there. Definitely, Divine Gambit was like... They were a little bit mana screwed. It's worse against mana screwed opponents, but when your opponents are getting mana screwed, you're probably okay with it. So, the runes just did major work there. I can't believe I considered the Pegasus over the Runeforge champion, because getting that second rune is just so nice. Gives you a nice life total buffer. I think the green rune might even be better than the white one in our deck, unless we're playing the aggro mirror. Okay, another good hand. It's not the best because we don't have any of our equipments, but we can draw them. We have 2-drop, 3-drop, 2-drop plus something potentially. Oh, there we go. I think we lead with the Story Seeker, because it's just gaining that life earlier is nice. This thing just hits him for 2 damage. This thing, it gains us 2 life, so it's like a 4-point life swing, which can always be relevant, especially against red-green. Maybe an aggro matchup. Okay, they pitch a forest. I think we probably want to get +1/+1 for it. Do we want to just trade 2-drops and play Gold Maw Champion? Probably. Next turn we can play Great Hall tapped and play Rune Crown. Oh, they're foretelling. Maybe it's a Demon Bolt? Okay. Does pick change things? I think it does. Because now if this isn't a Demon Bolt specifically, we get to hit them and then play Best Gear Shieldmate as well. So now we're kind of doing it all. So this is not Demon Bolt, or they would have killed this for sure. Could be Struggle, it could be Packmate. Okay, Packmate's like bad, but it's not like unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. That guy might be. Oh, Halvar. Yikes, this is tough. I think we want to be attacking, but we also want to have our 3/4 back to block this guy, but then if they have any removal, we're just toast. This card is a beating. So regardless, we're going to play this. We might just want to play Halvar as a 4/4. We could also play this, get our green one, and then equip it to the Best Gear Shieldmate so it can block Dragonkin Berserker. think that's the best. Because then we still hold out hope for using this. Search your library. Because we need it to be +2/+2 so it doesn't die to first strike. Okay, so now if they're going to make one of these dragons, they're going to have to suicide in the Berserker. I will say that the swamp here is hurting us. Goldvein pick is being pretty helpful. So their decision is whether or not they want a 5/5 dragon. Okay. Okay. That's totally okay with me. So we can Mask Vandal this now, which is pretty important. Because then this thing doesn't grow. So this is just doing an extra 2 damage. I think I'd rather just equip there, save the mana. So I'm already out of Demon Bolt range, so I can just leave it there. I don't know why I spent the mana to do that. There was a tad of a misclick. It also is nice to give double strike to 2 different things. Okay, so now I have a Plains, so I can play this Plains. I can play the Halvar. I think actually the Halvar half is better here. Because I give 2 different things double strike. And they scoop it up. I was going to be able to tap down this worm. It was going to be 3, 6, 9, 12. So they were going to go to 2. I don't know if they were dead. If I put it on this thing, then this is 4, 8. No, it's 5, 10. No. Yeah, it was going to be a good chunk of damage. So far, 2-0. With this masterpiece of drafting featuring many Goldvein picks and bomb rares. So, 2-0. Feels good. So far, so good, as they say. I think that was pretty good performance. I'm getting the games confused already. That was, yeah, the rune, the +1/+1 and trample rune is really good for the runed crown. Lifelink can also be really situationally useful. So I think we have a good mix of those. Having one of each is really good. I think also the Goldvein pick has been performing well. Helping us fix our colors is really a major part of that. I hope we draw the Jasper Sentinel just so I can see how it performs. Woohoo, we're playing against the old Mythic player. I think they're the underdog, though. They never know. They don't know what's about to hit them. Ooh, this is a yikes. We have to mulligan this. This needs double white. We don't have an equipment. We have no mana fixing insight. This is much better. I was hoping for the Jasper Sentinel to show up. I think we can actually ditch a land. I don't think we want to ditch any of our action. We have draw steps, and this is like a land. And we just want all the gas in the tank. The fuel tank. Ah, okay. Pick to Goldvein. Okay, I think again we want to go with the Story Seeker line. Especially because we can suit it up with the Goldvein pick now. The beatdowns are coming, opponent. If we top deck Furia's Retribution, we can just cast it next turn, which is nice. Okay. Well, that's a nice little addition. So we want to play this, and then I think we want to put it onto the Jasper and just keep attacking. Okay. Not the end of the world at all. That's totally fine. We can then Rune of Might this up, and then we have a 4/4 lifelinker, which is just huge. If this is a Packmate, oh, Binding. Yeah, it's not as ideal, but I think we're going to go with the Rune of Might first. It doesn't really matter the ordering here. Well, now our Goldvein pick is a super Goldvein pick. The old super duper Goldvein pick extravaganza. Come on down. Our Goldvein picks have many runes. The helmet rune and the shield rune, which is fitting for the shield mate who is wearing both a helmet of a very similar design, I might add, and also wielding a shield. We're in trouble. This is a downside of mulliganing for sure. Okay. If they have a second Skull Raid, we don't want them to draw too many cards off of it. They essentially are up 4 cards right now. But really only 3, because we have our draw step next turn to catch up one of those cards. Oh, baby, that's pretty good. They're missing land drops, or they would have certainly played lands. Okay. Sure thing. We want to keep it out of the range of this Skemfar Elder Hall. The Elder Hall is beckoning. If they don't have a removal for a flyer, we can just go to town with our 6/6 flyer. Even we'll have vigilance. Okay. I could play this guy and then equip this with the Goldvein pick. Or I could just equip this with the Goldvein pick. I think I'm going to play this guy and equip him. Because that way he doesn't die to the Elder Hall. If they had a struggle, they would still just fight the Angel anyway. They would just take the 2-for-1. Like, on our turn, we'll re-equip. We have enough mana to just move the pick, move it back. Okay. Sure thing, bud. Well, I guess it would have moved automatically. Ain't that just peachy? Halvar coming to the rescue. Got him. Good work, Halvar. Coming in clutch. Oh, ho, ho, ho. The old rank up stream. I told you the Mythic player was the underdog. Mythic cannot compete with the force of Diamond. Nice. The deck is just... I was gonna say rumbling along. It's rumbling, and then I was gonna say humming along. But then I just got confused and just said what I said. I just kind of stuttered over it. I was like, But yeah. The deck is doing quite well. So far, so good on the old rune front. Gotta be said, Goldvein pick is beasting on people. The card definitely going up in my estimations after this. Halvar also doing Halvar things. Might be the only time you never cast the back half of Halvard, just because the front half is just like always like adding 6 damage to it or the board or whatever. So kind of wild on that as well. But the deck is doing great. The Furia's, I mean, the Great Hall of Starnheim Splash coming in clutch right there. Really worked out. Jasper Sentinel doing 1 mana 1/2 things. Classic. Nobody wanted to match up against us because we are too terrifying, fear-inducing, they might say even. The fear. We're instilling them with, oh yes, Foximus. So we were on either end of the spectrum. We went to play the Mythic player, now we're playing the Gold player, so maybe we're the underdog. Ho 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 ho, yes. Halvar, also known as Sword of the Realms. Probably going to play the Sword half this game, but we'll have to see. We're on the draw, leading with Story Seeker. Oh yeah, get that tap land down. Again, not double white is a little tricky, but that's where Gold Vein Pick comes in. Haha. I can play a Story Seeker. They were like, aha, a black-white opponent. Little do they know about these forests lurking in the wings. So this could be a Jarl of the Forsaken. Oh my gosh, once more into the breach. Here we go. Rune of Might onto that Golden Pick. Really have to be careful with the clicking there. This could also be a Poison the Cup. I think we just go to combat. I think it could be a Poison the Cup pretty easily. Could also be a Jarl. But if it's Jarl, I just get to jam Axguard Braggart. We're going to save our treasure for now. We might need it to cast double white. Oh. That is also an option. A little bit less fun of an option, but it is still an option. Well, we're going to get a 2-for-1 on you now, buddy. Start with the rune on the pick. See what we draw. Next turn, we can just play the Sword of the Realms, equip it, start hitting them with our 5/5 Trampler. Oh? We even get the treasure. Nice. Did I play my land yet? No, I didn't. Okay. I don't need to equip it, really. Actually, probably would have been nice to equip it. I want to keep this black mana so I can use Great Hall. And I get it back. Get its ETB. So now they're going to chump, but it's got trample, so they only save 1 point of damage. I get my guy back anyway. Doing this in case they have Demon Volt. Okay, perfect. Actually, I'm not going to do that because it's already big enough. I'll just play this guy. And they're facing a lethal threat next turn from that. They actually have a chance to kill my Glade Walker. But if they do that, they're probably not going to be able to kill my Angel. Oh, well, I don't care about that at all. I'm not even going to block if they attack me for 3. So there. Boom. Wow, Great Hall doing its thing. I mean, that game was pretty much over anyway, because we had just our rare and our mythic in play, but so far this has been quite a steamroll, you might say. The deck is performing perfectly. The mana is working out. Goldwing Pick is doing wonders to smooth the mana. Like, we've had we've been a little bit short on white a couple times, and it's just working out ideally. But yeah, I think the best cards in the deck, I mean, Goldwing Pick has been stellar. Halvar won us 3 games pretty much. So yeah, first picking that was real nice. Okay, another good hand. We don't have any green mana, but all our cards are white cards. So we're okay for a little bit. We're probably just going to cast Sword of the Realms on turn 2, just so we spend the mana. And we have something to put these runes on. And we can even get the lifelink rune to help us stabilize the life total. Okay, well, Finn's a problem. This is one of those hands where you wish you were on the play, but we can't control that at all. Perfect, perfect. I could have waited a turn on that. Kind of want to like equip this onto him, put the thing on, and be able to start bashing for 4 life link. We're a little bit of ways away from that, though. Only Finn is a good sign, though. We can always Divine Gambit the Finn if we need to. That's a good sign. Okay, 4 poison. We can go equip, rune. We're going to rune first, I think. Wow. We just cold ripped the mana to play the Furious Retribution on turn 4. I think that's what we're meant to do. We can use it to kill the Finn next turn. Wow. I think they should have suicided in the Usher so that they could use the Masked Vandal to take out Sword. Okay. So this could be Iron Price. Let's see what they decide to do. They might have a second Masked Vandal. We're certainly going to tap our guy to kill Finn. I'm going to wait for damage to happen, though. It could be deal 5, but that's not typically the type of card they run in that deck anyway. Okay, it was not that. So maybe it's a fight spell. So this is going to deal lethal next turn, because we can just put the equipment on it, hit them for 12, because it gains double strike. They can't presumably kill it. Unless they have Bounding Gold, in which case we can Divine Gambit the Bounding Gold. Yeah, their Masked Vandal not being able to kill our Sword was pretty major there. But yeah. This deck feels unfair just because there's so many good rares in it, and the draws have lined up pretty well. I mean, we did Mulligan a couple times, I think. Or maybe twice? I don't know. But just cruising here. Well, that's why we have multiple runes, so we can get the second rune. Leading with the planes, in case we do hit just planes in our Great Hall or something. Gotta be said, I'm highly tempted to just wait on these until we draw one of our equipments, because it's so much better for us. Behold, looks like they're looking for lands. And equipment would be a real nice draw here. Actually, specifically Goldwain pick. Well, that's ridiculous, just hitting our land to play Furia's Retribution. I'm going to do this. Oh, we don't have an equipment yet, and it's nice to just filter through the deck a little bit. I'm not going to play the Rune of Sustenance, I don't think. We don't care about the life yet. And I would like to put it on equipment. Maybe I was supposed to just put it on Runeforge Champion there. Is that a board wipe? So it could be Doomscar, but they only have one white. I'm just gonna go for it. And if it is a board wipe and they top deck planes, then they get me. But they have to, it has to be Doomscar plus planes. If it's the sack 2 creatures, I'm fine. Okay, it's Doomscar Oracle, yeah. We're chilling. Okay, they're dead, right? We Bounding Gold the Mistwalker. Okay, yeah, they're totally dead. Just play the rune for fun, for giggles. I suck at math. Oops. How did I do that math wrong? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For some reason, I thought they were at... Oh, they were at 8, and they gained 2 from Doomscar Oracle. Whoops. Well, that math was, heinous, shall we say. It was not my best math. Oh, gosh. Could I have killed them if I had activated the Bredegard Stronghold instead of using my Rune of Sustenance? Yes. Yes, I could have. Oh, I thought they were at 8. I totally failed to register the fact that they gained 2 life. Whoops. 2 daisies. Because this is 4, and I had 1, and I spent only 1 to use the rune, so I did not have the mana to do that. I would have been 1 short. Okay, I'm not a doofus. I thought I was short on the Bredegard Stronghold. Oh my gosh, is it Doomscar? Oh, it's not. There's been this little glitch where it looks like there's like a card over here. I wonder, what was that card they had in Foretell? Shepherd of the Cosmos. Yeah, they were not going to win that. We're 6-0. Not really a surprise. I mean, I always expect to go 7-0 with my decks, especially when joined by such great guests to help us draft them. But overall, 6-0, no big deal. Just, pretty great. Pretty excellent. There are some who, might accuse me of just stacking the packs so that I could open all of the best cards. To those of you, I say, I don't have the technical knowledge to do so. I'm not proficient in arena code. But things are working out. Let's try to get that perfect record here. Just a nice little absolute dominance in gameplay. The Great Hall of Starnheim has been such a good inclusion. Double there. Well, we're keeping. They're keeping as well. I think we just run out the Masked Vandal, maybe. Okay, they're a green-black deck. And then we can just start equipping and hitting them and getting some treasures. Green-black is less heavy on auras and artifacts and stuff. We could have just played Doomscar Oracle. I just kind of like getting the treasure. It's like a nice little thing to get rolling. Helps our man out, depending on what we top deck. Next turn, we could play Furious Retribution now. Okay, they did hit a land. Oh, yes. Masked Vandal. Coming in hot. I can show you the world. Wow. Just Masked Vandal wants... It's out for revenge. No! I was punished. They have a lot of colors. Okay. We're just going to keep up the pressure here. Might as well sequence correctly while I'm at it. Okay, so we have 1 removal spell left. If they just play like a Grizzled Outrider here. Yikes. Ah! Need to be careful. We want to be able to cast our black spells or upgrade this into a 4/4. So I can make this a 4/6. And then I could Bound in Gold something as well. I could also just bound in gold and then do nothing and then just hit for 3. They definitely have spells in hand. If I bound in gold, they can still kill the Doomscar Oracle with that trade-off. And I want to hold up these black manas because they could be really good if I draw Furias. Well, we could take out Elven Bow at some point. That is not out of the question. Coma's Faithful, you say? Well, that's a good draw. We can fight there. Do they have Snakeskin Veil, really? Yeah, this might be a loss, now that I look at it. This thing can kill this thing. Bit of a yikes. The 4/6 defeats all, hopefully. We were real patient here. We need to make sure that we kill its Elven Bow. Before we send in our guy to just die. We're certainly going to take out the Elven Bow with this Divine Gambit. Hopefully we draw Plains even. Ruined Crown. Get the Rune of Might. Are you kidding me? I didn't click on that. I clicked on the Elven Bow, my man. Are you kidding me? I'm enraged. The level of rage that I feel is uncalculable. I totally clicked the Elven Bow. Why would I exile the 1/1 token, my man? Arena, please. Oh my gosh. Absolutely enraged. Oh, this game was so winnable if I just clicked on the Elven Bow instead. I did click on the Elven Bow. Oh my gosh. Can I not exile artifacts? No, you can exile artifacts. Wow. Well, that's... I don't even count... Some people count that as a punt. That's not even a punt. That's just a interface thing. Whenever it's a mistake that would not happen in a non-digital world, I don't count it as a punt. Wow. And now we're finished. Always fun to lose like that, isn't it? Thanks, Arena. I mean, that's literally just the game right there. The difference between winning and losing. So. Ugh. Really a fierce rage boiling through the surface there. It doesn't even, like, let you, like... It doesn't even zoom in for you so you can actually click on the Elven Bow. Like, why would you... Oh, my God. I mean, I clearly lost because of that. So, I mean, we would have been 7-0. Because I could have just... Yep. That's one way to do it. I kind of just want to concede because I feel like so miserable about how the game is going now. It's like, it's not even a real game at this point. It's like a fake game almost. It's like not really the way the game should be going. I have a Masked Vandal left. That would win me the game on the spot. Fear's Retribution would win me the game probably. That's 2 outs. Do I have any other ways to kill equipment? No, I already used one of them. And that one I can't even kill the equipment. I would probably kill the rune on accident with my Masked Vandal. Because the UI is so trash. Ugh, enraged. Absolutely enraged. Okay, I'm just going to block here. Yeah, +4/+4. It doesn't matter where I block. Well, there go 2 of my outs. Missed Bounding Gold by an inch. Yeah, I'm dead. Ugh. Oh, that's such a tilt. I was pretty sure I clicked on the Elven Bow. Like, what am I supposed to do? It's like minuscule. The target you're clicking on is so small. Oh gosh. I mean, and they didn't have anything that would have punished me for killing the Elven Bow and then just winning the game. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes. I don't normally get tilted, but I'm actually pretty angry about that. It's like when the UI sucks, I just get enraged. It was like, it's kind of like how King Narfi's Betrayal, the saga, has like one of the worst UIs I've ever seen, and it just like makes me not want to play when the card's UI is so bad. It's like you can't tell which graveyard's which and stuff. It just like combines them for some reason. That's like the point where I'm gonna like watch that back later and be like, wow, I totally clicked on the thing, or I tried to click on the thing. And just sometimes it like zooms out and lets you say like, which one do you want to select? But you know, such rage. Well, this is a good hand at least. We do need to hit a land to be able to play our Runeforge champion, but we have a couple of gold vein picks to go with the Runeforge, the runes that we're gonna get. Time to just recover mentally from the devastating blow that was just suffered. Whew. Okay, Axe Guard Cavalry, sure. just going to play the 1-3 so I can block. I could have played Rune of Sustenance onto the Goldvein pick to try and hit a land drop. Sure. Oh, yes. Even hit the Aspera Sentinel. Okie doke. Bruising for a bruising. So I have more mana than it looks like. I can also just, after they equip that, I can Bounding Gold it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna use full control so that I can like actually select which card I want to cast it on. Like, look at this narrow slicing. That's a Rune of Sustenance. Goldvein pick. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Ugh. At least I get to play more matches with my sweet deck. We'll look on the bright side. I'm going to attack for 5, and then I can use... No, it's not going to matter. I can just use 2 treasures to play my Story Seeker. Godsoul Guardian, okay, okay. Furious Retribution. This is a 3/6. It's going to be a 4 something. Yep. Protect from Demon Bolt. Not blocking here in a million years. Okay, so they're just totally dead. Got the win. So we got to Dream Crush some Diamond 1 player that was trying to get into Mythic by the fact that the clicking is really difficult on Arena. Okay. Well, we managed to get 7-1, though it was pretty much a 7-0 because we were going to win that other game if we were allowed to play our card correctly. So 7-0, 7-1, big difference, not really. And with this sweet deck that was helped, we were helped along with with the drafting part by Ben Stark, so that was really a lot of fun. If you were watching this and you on YouTube and you made all the way to the end of the video, do me that extra favor, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment with your thoughts and feedback, and also check out Ben Stark's content. He really does a lot of great analysis on his Twitch stream, on his YouTube, and it's a great place to learn if you're looking for more excellent unlimited content. Also, if you made it all the way to the end, leave hashtag I don't know, hashtag equip to victory, because the equipments were really super good. So hashtag equip to victory if you made it all the way to the end of the video, because these equipments were great. Or hashtag great haul of wins. I don't know, because star and win. I don't know. It's not really great. Hashtag. I don't always think of the best ones, but we didn't draw Battlefield Raptor a single time. We drew every other card though, I think, and they were all performed quite nicely for us. Well, I think that's the only card we didn't draw. But yeah, that is going to do it for this draft video. Do all those things I recommended before. Check out Ben Stark's content. And if you want to find more of my stuff, you can find my Twitch stream linked below. You can find my articles, my Discord server, all that stuff linked below. And if you want to support my content directly, you can do so via the Patreon, patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. That is going to do it for this video, though. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.